The Ralph Lauren Old World Christmas theme is all the rage this year, and I'm going to show you how I inadvertently thrifted my way into a budget-friendly, on-trend Christmas vibe this year, all while saving a ton of money. Hi everyone, and welcome back. My name is Shannon from TheDailyDIYer.com, and I am so glad to have you here today as we decorate our home for Christmas. What you may not know is that our home was built in 1908, and yes, it is an antique all by itself. And we put so much work into our home, done lots of renovations. We still have a little ways to go. This fireplace was something that we built into our living room, added the molding, but obviously I loved and kept those beautiful pocket doors. So again, timeless has always been the word in the back of my mind as we have renovated, as we have decorated, and as we also, of course, are going to be decorating for Christmas time. So it always just kind of feels natural whenever it comes time to change things to do some thrifting. So I love the idea of bringing things in for a lot of different reasons that are older. One, it kind of already has some wear and tear to it, so it has that history behind it. I love when you can thrift things because obviously you're going to save some money there. And I also love that it's also taking it out of the landfill. So we're saving it, we're giving it new life, and these brass candlesticks are one of the things that means a lot to us. I thrifted, or actually I Facebook Marketplace saved them years ago for our wedding. So they have been around for a long time and have that special meaning now to us as well. And I love to bring them out during the holidays to really add that ambiance of the candlelight. Now, I did go ahead and splurge a little bit on the candles this year. Those are new. I love them. They have more of a realistic look to them, more than I've ever seen in a LED candle before. So I will link things that I purchased new down in the description box below. But honestly, a lot of these things are one of a kind because they're thrifted. But hopefully you can find some similar. Obviously, you can probably find different types of brass candlesticks in thrift stores and antique stores, Facebook Marketplace like I did, to still get that look. Or you can even buy new and spray paint them to get that brass look. Now, you would think the Christmas tree is my favorite element to decorate for Christmas, but actually it's my mantle. It is such a focal point, and I love that you can kind of change it up. But honestly, I'm not going to do a whole lot of changing this year so I can keep it budget friendly. So I'm using the same greenery, the same stockings, except this time I'm going to add some beautiful satin ribbon to it to change up just a little bit of the look. Last year I used a velvet burgundy ribbon. This is obviously a double-sided satin ribbon. It just is those little bitty tweaks that can give you a fresh look. Along with the candlelight, I love the little tiny fairy lights in my garland for the mantle or any kind of garland, because you can tuck that really tiny thin wire into the greenery and you don't see it. You just see those little fairy lights peeking through. But what I like to do is just kind of lay it on top, not make it perfect. And then at the very end, I will tuck it all in and hide it. So the newest elements to this garland are these beautiful dried oranges. You can make these really easily. You just score the sides of the orange, put them in your oven at like the lowest setting, and it can take 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours. You got to keep an eye on them before they start turning brown. You just want to dehydrate them, and then you can use them in your decor. And I love that, that's an inexpensive way to do it. I also added some faux pomegranates this year, and I'm going to add a lot of extra texture in here using some magnolia leaves. These have two sides. They have the back side that's darker and the front side that's more the green. I did both, so I'd flip them over and use both sides. I also added some natural pine cones, just wired those in. And new this year are these berries, which is going to change the whole look of my Christmas decor. I added them anywhere I could, just so I could kind of pull the whole look together. Those were half off at Hobby Lobby. Now all of those elements combined, including these beautiful prism drops on the mantle, oh my goodness, it just came together beautifully. Such beautiful richness and opulence here for minimal investment. Now I have to tell you a story. We went to an antique store and found this amazing brass reindeer. It hitches up to the sleigh. It is so unique. I've never seen one before. We asked the owner because it didn't have a price tag on it, and he said it's from the 60s and it's $60. And we thought that's a little pricey. We don't really have a place to put it, so we left without it. The next day I did the mantle, and my husband said, you know, that's the perfect place for that reindeer. So luckily he went back the next day. It was still there, so we feel like it was meant to be. And he brought it home for me to be able to just make the finishing perfect touch to our mantle. Now I felt like that sleigh needed something in it, and I actually came across the absolute perfect item at the thrift store. These beaded kind of sugared pieces of fruit in a box for only $3. The most perfect addition. Looks beautiful in the sleigh. It had some little berries tied up on the top, so I took those off the ribbon and put those into the sleigh as well, and I just am in complete awe of how this all just came together. Now, as I said, we have been renovating, and we did add this fireplace about 3 or 4 years ago, and we never really finished it off. It has drove us crazy, but we never just get around to fixing the frame. It didn't come with a frame, so my husband whipped this up with some extra trim that we had in the workshop, just a little cover for it, spray painted it black, added some magnets to the back of it, and look, finally, our fireplace is officially finished. And if you'll notice on the left side of the fireplace, those are antique snowshoes. I actually came across those at an Oktoberfest this year, another unique item to add to not just Christmas, but also winter decor. Now this was a splurge and not a thrifted item. We had been talking about getting a leather chair for 2 years now, and I finally thought this is the time. We need to do this. This look is asking for it. This is a good budget bargain find on Wayfair, so I'll link it down below, but look at it and look at Honey. She is just the perfect little model. And I love investing in things that we can use beyond just the holiday season, and that would include this mirror that I thrifted. I was looking for a big mirror, and they are all $100 or more. I didn't know how much this one was going to cost. It was broken a little bit, but I thought I can totally fix this. This is a huge mirror. And when I got up to the register, they said, "Would you give me $8 for it?" And I was like, 100% absolutely. So yes, of course that came home with us. I fixed it with a little E6000 glue and some duct tape to hold it in place. I did take off the hardware off the back and the wire off the back and switched it up. It was made to hang horizontal and I wanted it to hang vertical. So I didn't have to spend any money to really fix this or make this work for me. I just had to do a little bit of work to adjust the hardware and rearrange that wire so it would hang right. Now this mirror was so big that I actually ended up having to take down those sconces, which was sad, but I may rework them after Christmas, move them out a little bit, but I really wanted to make room for this greenery because we're gonna make it just as significant looking as the fireplace mantle. Now both here and the mantle, I use 2 different kinds of greenery. I use the Norfolk pine and I use the cypress garland, which gives it lots of extra texture. And just like I did the mantle, I am adding each element in the same way I did so I can get the same look as the fireplace because this isn't far away from it. So it's gonna kind of all blend and flow together. I also added those drippy hanging prisms all the way across, and wow, did that just give it the wow factor. I mean, come on, an $8 mirror, you would never know this was thrifted. Such a beautiful find. Now let's have some fun with that console table, the tabletop. When we're looking for that Ralph Lauren old world look, grab some silver picture frames or even brass ones, gold ones. Look for some gold candlesticks. I was lucky enough to find 2 of them, gorgeous, and some old books. We're gonna balance out this look, add that beautiful velvet dark green fabric onto the tabletop. And then this is a thrifted frame. I used this a couple years ago for my daughter's graduation party, so we're gonna use it here again, an old book. I'm gonna use the glass candlesticks over here. I also threw in one of the brass candlesticks here. I love the mixture of the different types of texture here. And this is an old set of sleigh bells that I got in an antique store. Love the leather, love the blend of the antique metal. Just kind of tucked it off to the side here on the table. Again, mixing the different mediums, the metal, the glass, the velvet, and the picture frame. We're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna mix old and new with a new picture from the last weekend and some older family photos. And the other thing I wanted to add was some plaid this year. So I hit the thrift store. I'm looking through blankets, curtain panels, tablecloths, napkins, and you always want to check the scarves, which is where I had the best luck. So this is an old blanket scarf that I've had for years, and instead of wearing it for a scarf this year, I decided to put it down the center of my coffee table. And we're gonna pair that with a tray right in the center, some new elements and some old ones. Another tip I have is to turn everyday items into more Christmas items. You can always tie ribbon around them, add a little bit of color. And another item to check out and keep an eye out for at the thrift store are bells. I was lucky enough to find plenty. They had tons at the different thrift stores, $1, $2, great prices. And we're gonna take them home and we're gonna spray paint them so they have more of a brassy, goldy, antique look than ones that, you know, are very mismatched. So here is one of those 2 bells. I kept it very simple, just painted it gold and added it to the tray. Really, really pretty. And I'll show you that other bell here in just a little bit, but how pretty did this come together with that used scarf and a spray painted bell and a couple other items. Another thrifted item I added to my tray was this cut glass dish and all those little bitty remotes that are for my candles, my fairy lights, the lights on the tree. Kept them right there so I can easily grab them, and it looks like a pretty little dish for them to sit in. Now this bell turned out so pretty. It had all that extra texture on it. I'm just simply gonna add a velvet ribbon tied around the handle to give it some color, and look how beautiful this is. Now I already showed you, we are gonna be using some thrifted picture frames. The silver ones have that Ralph Lauren look to them, and I got every single one of these picture frames for $1. You can see this one had a $7.99 price tag on it, and I just cleaned them up really good, printed out some black and white photos, and decided to give even our family photos an old world look here. So I picked some photos of family members that we have lost and want to remember. It was just a really great way to kind of memorialize them and remember them during the holidays. Old books are another thrift store must. I always look for red and green ones. This one just happens to be red and green. It's not a Christmas book, but it looks beautiful as an item to add for height in your holiday decor. You can always flip them to the backside like I did this one to show the pages. Just add a little bit of height and interest to your vignettes. I have been collecting these brass horns for a while now, and I think I even got one off of eBay, the biggest one. And anytime I see them, I grab them because I love them so much. And wow, did I get lucky at the thrift store I was paying. And next to the register was a Christmas tree. And these two were hanging right there, and they were only $1 each. So I'm going to cut off the extra decorations on them. I like them plain. Maybe next year I'll add a little bit of ribbon on them or something. But this year I decided just to keep them very simple. And now that I kind of have a good collection going, I decided to use them and put them on my little pencil tree in the corner of our living room. Now let's talk about kitchen items. I was on the hunt for, I don't know what in my brain is the perfect cut glass wine glasses, but I was on the hunt and I found them, and they were having 75% off. So look at these gorgeous glasses. They were only $1 each, and yes, they gave me 75% off of these. I got these wine glasses for 25 cents. I didn't even know you could get things for 25 cents anymore. I felt like I was just stealing these. They were so cheap, so I spent a whole $1 on 4 of these gorgeous wine glasses that I can't wait to use this holiday season. This is a thrifted item I have had for quite a while now. They are great year-round. They are cheese cloches, so you could use them for kind of like charcuteries. You could put a little pie in there if you wanted to, or even decorate it up. Put cookie cutters in there, put a little wintry, snowy display in there. That would be cute too. And speaking of cookie cutters, yes, my copper reindeer cookie cutter was thrifted too. As soon as I saw this, I had to have it, and it was only $1. It is a nut dish, and I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, my grandparents always had a dish out filled with nuts that you could crack with the crackers. So I always wanted this as an adult to have out during the holidays, and now I absolutely can, and it was only $1. So kind of a fun memory to bring back, and new tradition to bring into the family and continue. Now, I didn't have room for these, but I wanted to mention it. If you're out and about thrifting and you want that Ralph Lauren Christmas look, keep your eye open for big hurricane glasses like this one. They are very pricey if you buy them new. As you can see in my thrift store, this was only $2. They usually have a little candle set down in them that gives you that Ralph Lauren look. If you want kind of vintagey looking candles, check the thrift store. You're gonna save a bundle there, and you're gonna get that antique-y look. Also, wood clocks. They can be very, very expensive, but as you can see, this one was only $10 at the thrift store, and if I would have had room, that would have come home with me. Now, if you'll remember back to the beginning of the video, I said I inadvertently thrifted my way into a Ralph Lauren Christmas theme this year. Well, the reason I say that is because honestly, this was kind of the look I was going for anyway. I added some burgundy to our Christmas decor last year, and I really wanted to develop that more this year. I also wanted to add plaid this year. That was honestly what I was looking for in my inspiration. And everything that kept coming up was Ralph Lauren, Ralph Lauren. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is what my style is. So as I said, inadvertently, but it is beautiful, it is gorgeous, it is opulent, it is abundance without the high expensive price tag that comes with the Ralph Lauren decor. So I hope that this gave you inspiration. Sit back and enjoy this Christmas home tour. I hope that today's video inspired you, showed you some ways that you can also affordably attain a high-end look without the high-end price tag. If you could, hit that thumbs up button, share this video with a friend, and subscribe if you are new so you can come back next week for more budget-friendly ideas. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one.